Right.
Cool.
Recording wise, we got Oldbob and Blush.
Yep, as
Cool.
usual.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, basically, it's not a lot of topics. It's heartbreaking like event sale, patch notes, AMA, and public testing. But that's just a mention, though.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be a light load on the points today, but that's good though.
Yeah, and then goes in about the incoming podcast.
Yeah.
Well, you do that to start with, yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about some questions? Goes in.
Yeah. Good, man. It's
Cool.
as I said, used to being on the other side to it, so pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, an actual structured podcast. Trust me.
If you want, we could do at least looking at the question. The first one: what were some of the hurdles you had had to overcome, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I think first you just say, "What's the first the incoming missile podcast? Why did you start it?" And then you can get into that.
Oh yeah, those are just questions. They were just icebreakers because it's the first time we're structured.
Yeah. It's just knowing you guys. You might sometimes just read the first one when that's later on.
Oh yeah, Bob, and then for next week, one of my close friends here back home, they're really big into creating music and stuff. So he's actually going over the songs from John.
Oh really?
Yeah. So he's actually going over his works, and he might come back to me midweek with some questions that might actually be more inclined towards music and such.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about music. I just like, your music's awesome. So,
Yeah, because I know with me, I'm just like I'm more just like, oh yeah, it sounds great, and I have it on at work to pass the time. But so my friend who actually composes his own stuff, I mean, granted, not on the scale that he does, like John, but he does some small things, basically back home.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be interesting what questions they come up with, but for the most part, the most universal thing people can understand is just the career, how did you get into it, etc.
Exactly.
etc. Rather than it's sort of like getting Bill Gates on and asking him about the minutiae of code, rather than just meteoric rise.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certainly there's room for people to talk about coding and such with people who do coding for a living, but we're not a coding or music podcast or anything like that. It's just
but I will say it's interesting. But it is interesting because I actually began to listen to his Shadowrun soundtracks at work, and there's a lot of similarities.
Huh.
Oh yeah. He does a lot of somewhat background atmospheric tracks. There's not a lot of very strong melody lines or anything like that in his music.
Yeah, and there's some certain cues that it kind of goes from one game or one soundtrack to the other where it's the same kind of like sound, which it's not a bad thing. It's not like that, but it's like
the funny thing is, in regards to Shadowrun, it's a whole mix of composers for the first game, and then Dragonfall and Hong Kong is when John Everest actually works on it. So he took that original soundscape and did his own take on it, so to speak. He was given the reins.
Yeah, like this week when I go to work, I'll have to start listening to some of those.
Yeah, you can find all of them on was it Spotify?
I think we actually made a list here, didn't we? Like somewhere.
He has his own YouTube channel. He uploads all the tracks and such, and that's also where I linked the making of tracks. I did post a list because the list they give you the soundtrack, it's kind of a random order, or at least it's like 52 tracks in total. A lot of them are just alternate takes on similar tracks, but the first 30 or so tracks are still all over the place, and majority of them are actually from the story, just backgrounds during the cinematics. I was trying to figure out which ones are actually played during the game, because there is actually sometimes a little bit of a lack of tracks for just like career mode, for example.
Oh yeah, I gotta tell you, goes in. Just go and jump in like anytime, man. It basically doesn't matter like what it is, whatever thoughts you have or anything else. And it's kind of like whatever you think is cool, man.
For the most part, I just think the most natural avenue is ask him about his work, how he got into it, what's his story behind becoming a musician, how did he get involved in harebrained schemes, etc., etc. You're not actually looking at the minutiae of the music he's made. And in some ways, at least, particularly with his style, it's a lot of backgroundy type music. That was my criticism before in a way. It's like, it's not actually too deliberately made to be listened to in and of itself. It's not something like pop music or anything like that. It's very gameplay music.
Mm-hmm.
Though, I mean, I do have my own pet question. I sort of want to try and ask you in a nice way. It's sort of like, Shadowrun Hong Kong, you really captured the essence of Hong Kong. With Shadowrun Dragonfall, you captured the free state of Berlin. But with Battletech, it very much, it was about the Star League and the history of the whole setting in general. We didn't get, in the future, is there going to be any tracks, theme songs or, different musical styles for different factions? I'd be interested in that. Or eventually, hopefully, at some point, a track or theme style for the actual periphery where we're playing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kozen.
You cut yourself off by about a bit.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Damn it.
Cut off.
It's my stupid computer. Kozen. So the whole process of what basically we're going to be talking to you about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we go into the normal talking points that we have for the game itself. And just jump in anytime you want to, anytime you can, of any thoughts that you might have. In fact, we might actually ask you, hey, what do you think about the public test session, that kind of stuff. So just let you know.
That sounds good, man.
And the whole thing also too is to promote your podcast as well. So, talk about your podcast, talk about like what it is, and all good stuff. We got some questions up here, kind of ask you as well. But those are just kind of like icebreakers that get us like into it, and it's kind of off the cuff. So just let you know as well too.
Cool, man. Sounds good.
Well, actually, hold on. It is off the cuff. It's not kinda.
Hey, it's always.
And don't worry about like any pauses or anything else. I'll go edit those out, and in case we laugh or do whatever, basically mess up or anything, I'll just edit that stuff out.
We wouldn't want laughter in the podcast.
No laughter,
this
damn
is
it.
a strict no fun zone.
Exactly. Okay, who's so those are our points, the heartbreaking cell and event, patch notes, AMA, and public test, right? And that's it. And then also talk about the glowy eyes and the Warhammer 2C.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, who's gonna do the intro? Actually, Kozent, you get to do the intro.
Ask myself the question.
Yeah, you have to interview yourself. It'll
Yes.
be the ultimate podcasting trial. And it means we can do the least work possible, I guess.
You guys have a standard intro.
Yeah. Oh, it's episode 73, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. That up here. Okay, everything's set up. Okay, everything's set up on my end.
Did you have a standard intro, or you just want me to podcast name and then introduce everyone?
Basically, hello. This is goes in from the incoming podcast. This is no. Now, how would we do that?
I feel like it's much more appropriate if we introduce it, Bob.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's off the cuff. Okay, fine.
All right, so Bob, I guess that's you volunteering. It's either you and me. So to keep
You don't want me to-
parity from last time.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll go do it. No, shit. In fact, you do it, man, because I get too much crap to do. Because my voice is kind of crappy.
All right.
My voice sounds like I'm voice guy.
Okay, so you both ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ready.
Okay, let's get this show on the road. Hello and welcome everyone to the First Circuit Podcast episode number 73,000. Today we have Cozend Indigo from the Incoming Missile Podcast as a special guest. Say hello, Cozend.
Killed it.
And we also have Lars and Old Bob here with us.
Hey-o.
Hello.
Our plan for tonight is to talk a bit about the Incoming Missile Podcast, who also talk about MechWarrior Online, and to cover the patch notes, the heartbreaking event/sale, the AMA session that's coming up, and the public test session.
Coming up next. Okay. I don't know, for some reason Discord's not showing their names. For some reason Discord's not showing the names. Hold on a second.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah. Normally actually normally have it actually where it shows the names who's talking, but it's not showing like right now.
What's it like, Shift F1 for the overlay or something like that?
Hold on.
Oh, I mean, it's not showing in
Talk.
OBS,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Screw it, we're going live. Screw it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, okay,
This is
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Okay. Okay, so first I want to say welcome, Cozend, to the First Circuit Podcast. It's really great having you here. And can you talk a little bit about your podcast?
Well, yeah, first, thanks for having me. It's fantastic to talk to you guys on this side. Myself and Captain Cat are two hosts of another MechWarrior online podcast. And like yourself, we get together kind of once a fortnight and try and talk about all issues and topics that relate to MechWarrior Online.
Cool. And what actually got you into MechWarrior or the BattleTech in itself?
Well, yeah, for me it was a Johnny come lately, to be very honest. Captain Cat is a good friend of mine outside of MechWarrior, and he'd kind of got me on to the game. I hadn't played any of the previous titles, so basically a dirty scrub and Johnny come lately, as I was saying. But yeah, I had friends that had played the MechWarrior titles when I was younger, and I hadn't ever played them myself. I'd always been probably more a guy that was into kind of civilization and strategy games like that. But Captain pointed the game out to me and started playing, and I won't say it was an instant love, because as you guys are aware, there's a bit of a learning curve getting into MechWarrior. It takes a while to to be able to get competent. But yeah, it wasn't long really before I kind of fell in love with it. So it's been maybe a year and a half, 18 months that I've been playing. But yeah, Captain got me into it, and yeah, have been enjoying it ever since.
Did you start with tabletop or the MechWarrior franchise?
No, not BattleTech, or I wish I'd started with the novels. Actually, that's something that have been trying to track down here in New Zealand. Because yeah, I do like reading the backstory and some of the stuff that informs the universe. But no, I did used to play games like Space Crusade and Heroes Quest and board games like that when I was younger. Played a lot of D&D as well. Always been big into D&D. But now, as I said, real Johnny come lately. Had virtually no exposure to the franchise until I came into MechWarrior Online. So basically, I've just been learning everything backwards from there. MechWarrior Online and playing BattleTech, and obviously looking forward to Mercenaries when it comes out.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Well, yeah. Well, I guess good to have you as a part of the BattleTech community, late bloomer. So, but
nice.
So I guess one other question too is that so mainly you started about just over a year ago, right? In this game.
Yeah, about 18 months.
Okay. So I think like the people here probably like myself, Bite or Old Bob, we've probably been playing a few more years back when the game was, I would say almost not as polished. So actually, I'm always curious to ask about people who are newer to the game. What kind of shortcomings did you think were back then, and maybe what things were maybe improved or still the same? Do you think?
Yeah, and then look, I've had this discussion with Captain Cat as well, because he's been in from the ground level, right from beta, and he's been playing for many years now. So since 2012, I think, and I'm along late enough that the game's been fantastic the whole way along. So we dive deep into issues around the game, such as balance and those kind of things. But I'm potato enough, and I'm a dirty scrub enough that actually I've enjoyed the game from the get-go. I haven't been particularly put out by balance decisions or anything like that, and it's kind of one of the things that we try and do with the podcast is to explore the different perspectives around the game, and I come from a perspective where I really like it. I don't see major issues with the game. And part of that is just because I haven't been around to see all the iteration of change. I haven't seen the journey that's gone through. Captain Cat often refers to the fact that things are so much better than they were, and improvements have been made. But, I haven't really been around long enough to see major shifts. The changes that were made over 2018 have kind of been the only major change cycle that I've been able to observe. And I've loved it the whole way along. So, it's I do struggle sometimes with the Salt and some of the people that are hugely critical of the game or of some of the decisions, because, as I said, in my experience, it's been pretty good the whole way along.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one thing that shows actually good player is able to respond to the balance changes and actually go ahead and improve or just like, okay, well, I got to change this, so I'll go change this and go and play the game itself and kind of deal with the balances that actually happen with the game itself. So that's good. It's a good thing, man.
Yeah. And look, Captain Cat's probably an example of a player that he's very good at the game. He's good enough to be able to take advantage of the meta, or adapt and shift with whatever the dominant play style is, and so those shifts and ebbs, whether they're kind of subtle or whether they're big, they influence someone like him. Not only is he good enough to take the advantage of it, that he's seen different iterations of it, but for me, my skill ceiling's not that high, so it doesn't make as big a difference.
Well, join the club. My skill sets are really not that high either, so it's okay.
the fun club, Bob. The fun club.
Exactly. That's how that's live my life.
Playing for funds.
Oh man.
So we know how you got into MechWarrior Online, but what particularly inspired you to get into podcasting?
Yeah, well, like yourself, Biter, I've been a podcast tragic for a long time now, and spend most of the content that I consume really is listening to podcasts. They're convenient. You can do it at work, those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of podcasting is that you can explore a topic. You can talk about it, and you can kind of get in depth into it. So I've always been a fan of podcasting, and I'd been hassling Captain Cat for a little while to say we should start a podcast. And the reason that I guess we had wanted to do it was we felt that there wasn't enough of that around. the First Circuit podcast was really the only show in town, apart from the periodical drops of NGNG TV and their podcasting. And, they do so much other content that the podcasting was really only an offshoot. So you guys were really the only show in town. And what we wanted to do was just have a conversation about what was happening in the game. And, our approach and what we do with our podcast is to try and pick a topic and explore it a little bit. So, we wanted to start a podcast so that people had something that they could come to where they could listen to, a couple of Kiwis exploring a particular topic in the game, whether that be balance or something like that, and to explore the different perspectives around it. A lot of what's posted on forums or posted in Reddit is from a certain perspective, and those places tend to be a little bit salty. They tend to be people of high skill that are really getting into the minutiae of the game, and they tend to be biased towards a certain perspective. It's often pretty anti-establishment. It's often pretty, as I said, salty and ragey.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to have the discussion. We wanted to give a perspective that people could tune into. So, that was the point of kind of starting the podcast. And so we just gave it a go, found we enjoyed it, and yeah.
Just went out from there, huh?
Yeah.
Actually,
I do really like the different flavor that the Incoming Missile podcast gives. The First Circuit covers the week-to-week minutiae, and it's just a bunch of friends chatting about the game, often from a very casual perspective. We don't have very much intersection with the more meta or the more competitive sides of the community. So these much more formatted, it's built around a single topic podcast that has a lot more ties to, at least your other half has a lot more ties to the meta and the more competitive community. It's quite a good, interesting flavor. That's why I tune in every time it comes out.
Yeah, same with me too. Like, I like your format, plus also just how professional it is too. It's really nice. I like it.
Certainly appreciate that. And I mean, the other king. Excuse me. Yeah, the other key thing that we wanted to do was highlight the good aspects of the game. We didn't feel that there was necessarily enough kind of celebration. And the two things that we wanted to emphasize the most was the content creators. So like yourself and the good work that you guys do, both as streamers and with the podcast, of course. We wanted to have a forum where we would allow listeners to understand the process of content creation a little bit more, because we thought the passion that goes into the content creation in the MechWarrior community is, in my experience, a bit unique. As we discussed on our podcast, you've got a whole lot of people that are passionate for the game, and I think that comes through in the content creation. So as well as kind of exploring some of those topics that surround the game, the other thing we really wanted to do was get behind the curtain for content creators and let the listeners, understand that as well, and understand that exists in the MechWarrior community, and celebrate it, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Cool.
Yeah, it's actually really neat because a lot of times, I know myself and Old Bob, from either Twitch or on YouTube, there actually is a lot of extra work that that all of us do, and of course, basically, including yourself by doing the podcast, is that there is a lot of passion that goes into this, especially because as a content creator myself, this is more of a side gig because I do have a full-time job to bring in the actual paychecks. There's a lot of extra time and effort that basically I put in, Bob, Biter, all of us. So it actually is nice to kind of like how you said, just pull that curtain aside and say, here are the content creators, and they do a lot of extra stuff for this game, because it is a game we all enjoy, and we enjoy putting the time and effort into it.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand that side of it, because it makes the content itself better when you can understand how passionate people are about the content they create, what brought them to it. And I've interviewed a few streamers now, and obviously yourselves as not only streamers but creating a podcast. The variety in the content and the reasons behind creating it are varied. But what underpins it is that passion, and it's easy, particularly in today's culture, to see content that is a little bit, if not negative, it's maybe a little bit biased. It's a little bit kind of ragey. And sometimes the tone and context can be lost. It's hard to get a balanced perspective on the discussion. So being able to explore both sides of an issue, and being able to understand the awesome stuff that exists out there in the community. That should be first. That should be what you keep in mind whenever you think about MechWarrior, whenever you think about BattleTech. You should think about that community. You should think about the passion. And that means that when decisions are made, it's usually a little bit easier to kind of see both sides to it. So even if you disagree, you can handle it. And if you agree, then, that can just make the experience better for you.
Yeah, actually, you hit on the key point, though. Being negative is so easy to do. I mean, it is the easiest thing whatsoever. And being positive is one of the hardest things you ever do in any type of format or content you actually make, or, basically like even actually playing the game. Being positive to your team, because that's the one thing that's going to really bring down your whole team is one negative person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. True. Let's see here. Edit. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of another question here. So I have one question for you. Where do you see your podcast in a couple years from now?
Yeah, look, we plan probably about 6 months out, and we have been putting content together, and we begin to research topics ahead of time. But kind of 6 months from now, we're looking to build up a catalog of information and of podcasts. And what we're hoping to do is simply interview more and more content creators, and kind of parallel what's happening in the game. Those are two of the goals, and we see those moving forward. What we would like to do is to get a chance to interview some people at PGI, to be very honest with you. So a year from now, we are hoping that we get the opportunity. In particular, I mean, you guys have got John Everest that you're going to be interviewing very soon. We're really, really keen to talk to some of the people in the art and design team in PGI. So a year from now, we're hoping that we can kind of make the case and talk to the people at PGI, and what we believe is the two strongest aspects of MechWarrior. Firstly, are the community, and obviously that's why we were so keen to interview content creators. But the second thing that we love most about the game is the aesthetic, the art, and the design. We think that it is something that sets the game apart from many, many other games. So that's something that we really want to explore. Captain Cat is a designer by trade, and is really informed at that side of the world. So would like to expand into pulling the curtain back on some of what happens at PGI. Darren and Phil do it to a degree, but it tends to be around balance and some of those aspects. We're keen to expand and to explore some of the art and design aspect of the game, because we think that it's another strength. But yeah, beyond doing what we're doing at the moment, that's really kind of the only goal for maybe a year from now, is to be able to pull the curtain back on what's happening in the art and design team there at PGI.
Wow, that's 6 months, man. I could barely plan the next day, let alone 6 months. I mean, damn.
Well, we do need to prepare for the episodes and stuff like that. So we kind of, we need to be a little bit of ahead.
Yeah.
That fits into what I do as a profession. A large part of my job is around project management and a performance analysis. So, I do need to be ahead of the game. So it's, it's pretty easy to make sure that we are, planning ahead. For instance, we've got, we're putting together the show notes for an episode on LRMs. So we're looking forward to that one.
Oh boy. Oh, yeah. That should be interesting. How much hate do you get from the LRM podcast?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe some hate. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know unless you talk about the topics. And
Oh yeah, definitely.
The good thing about it is, Captain Cat will bring that aspect of high skilled players that kind of are tolerant of LRMs but don't use them and aren't a fan of them per se. And I come from a bit of a different perspective, so we'll. I'm looking forward to that one because Kat and I can have a little bit of a back and forth and discuss the various pros and cons.
Cool, man. I can't wait to actually go listen to that. Larsh, Biter?
Yeah, you can't wait to listen to that. That is something that's kind of going to turn.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Well, one thought would just be at least we might want to move on to our other topics.
Like any more questions though, as far as like the incoming podcast? Edit.
yeah, we should probably put some like audio cues of we're gonna have a break right here. Make sure to cut that little out there.
You know, I thought about that after listening to the incoming podcast. I thought about putting some music breaks or anything, but I don't know yet.
Yeah, you know what? And actually, this as a quick comment. I don't know how we're gonna bridge this into your edit, so I'll kind of restart my blurb here.
No, that's fine.
So actually, one thing I do enjoy about your podcast that actually, is of course different from ours is that yours has a lot of interesting audio cues and audio bumps at the very beginning and end. So I was just kind of curious. Was that something that mainly you designed, and then also like basically what kind of what software do you typically use to record and make those?
Yeah, we use Adobe Audition, and Cat will record on his end, I'll record on my end, and then we'll put those two tracks together. We wanted the podcast to have as professional a sound as we could give it. I mean, obviously, as amateurs, that was only going to be so limited. And one of the things that we found early on was that we were both, Captain Cat probably more than I, we were both pretty snobby around sound and wanting the quality, at least not to distract from the conversation. We wanted it to be high quality that you didn't notice, and you could just focus on the topic. So that was kind of the main thing. And the way we structured the podcast with interludes and some sound effects and stuff like that was really just to give it a framework of professionalism. And we felt that would be the best way to help listeners know what to expect every week, a sense of familiarity, that there was a structured intro and main topic. And we also thought that we would have different segments because we thought we might need extra stuff to talk about. We reflect now that we kind of easily fill up the hour, so we don't necessarily need the other segments. But all of that stuff was just to try and, as I said, make the podcast sound more professional. And using stuff like Adobe, and after a few episodes, I was able to get a more professional mic and stuff like that to add to the audio quality. They were just tools, really tools to help the listener not have to worry about glitches or bumps. And to give the podcast a structure that hopefully makes it a little bit more professional. And given that we are topic-based in regards to the podcast, it's just easier to fit it in when you can have an intro, give a quick summary about what you're going to talk about before you get into the main topic. And the intro allows us to highlight things that have come up or are coming up as well. So, yeah, as I said, it's it fits into my nature. As I said, I like to be structured, and we find it easier to explore a topic in a structured way. If we've gone through and kind of structured the podcast to support it.
Nice. I like that. That's cool.
All right. Well, speaking of structure, perhaps we should move on to our other topics for this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. I learned more about the Incoming Missile podcast, and I will actually listen a lot more now too. Thank you.
It's nice. Always good to have other listeners.
and of course, also for our viewers, you do the same as well.
Yeah, no, obviously there's a few ways that you can find us. We do have a YouTube channel, so Incoming Missile Podcast, and you'll find all of our previous episodes on there. I think we're up to about 14 that are
Cool.
done. But of course, yeah, your favorite podcast platform, just find us on there, and the podcast will pop up for you every fortnight. We release every fortnight. And yeah, obviously do follow us on Twitter at IncomingP to see the updates on there as well.
And also, too, like always, I'll leave links down below, so check them out, guys.
All right, so who here has actually been taking part in the Heartbreaker event?
Well, I've been doing it accidentally since I honestly I'll admit I didn't really realize there was an event, so I began playing, and lo and behold, it's another one of those you play the game and you will be getting some free stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. It is a fairly low barrier to entry for most of these challenges, and they give a whole bunch of bits and bobs. It's quite a mix. I must admit, with all the different criteria and rewards they're giving, it's a bit for me to get my head around. And there's a few things. There's just two barriers to getting all of it. Just one of it, which is you have to do enough matches in quick play. Another is 100 missiles shot down with AMS, which just requires an AMS mech. And there's 100 MC locked behind winning a Solaris match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that one. Not a big Solaris fan.
I might still try and do it because, I mean, it's one of those things that, I think I say every other podcast is that I still really enjoy Solaris when there are people in the queue. I really enjoy, the 1v1 aspect of the game. So if that might fill the queue, I think I'll join in on that.
It's a quintessential challenge, I think, around these events, particularly with Solaris, is encouraging people to get in there. I mean, Bob, you just flick me a message, man, and we can go at it in Solaris so that you can get the event, give it a try out.
There could be only one. Yes.
Yes. Now, of course, with the event, this is the Heartbreaker event. So it was last Thursday, was Valentine's Day. So for those of you who are single, married, or not, or whatever, you can still come in and join your mates in MechWarrior Online to get Valentine's Day type items. So this is going to be mostly cockpit items, some decals. If you played last year, they had the decals were the girls in pink and red dress.
Yes.
And the one thing I did find that was interesting is that, where's it at here? If you go ahead and you play and you destroy 100 missiles with AMS, they give you a decal, which is the wide load sign.
Oh my God. Really?
Like that, I guess that is Valentine's Day worthy, I guess.
Yeah, why would that actually be in there? Well, I guess that's bizarre. Wide load.
But you also do get MC and C bills, so it's gonna be one of those things where the actual challenges are pretty easy. It's just that you go in, you play, and you will get items if you just play for like an hour or two.
Yeah, there's certainly been a push, I think, over the last 4 or 5 months of events being a little bit more generic, that you just get them as you play, as opposed to specific things. And this is another one where they've just said play the game, run as you normally would, basically, and you're going to pick up these rewards. Which, there's pros and cons to that, but it's nice to be able to pick up those decals and pick up the extra C bills and MC in particular.
One thing I don't recall seeing before was the cockpit standing item, the teddy bear. Is that new for this event?
No,
yes, it is.
No. Basically, I had that for a couple of them actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it the blue one, old Bob?
I think it's a blue one. I'm not sure.
No, it's actually different.
Really?
Because I got it today. If you are in game and you go to your standing cockpit items, you actually find a new brown teddy bear holding a heart, and it actually says Valentine's Day 2019 reward item.
That's
okay.
nice.
And it's actually really nice looking too. It's like, because they actually did a good texture on it.
Because I know that, like, I did have a teddy bear like before. I had a teddy bear, guys. Yes. I had a teddy bear.
What about in game, Bob?
Well, okay. In game, I never had one, but I have one in real life.
So we had the blue one, and actually, I'm swapping between the two right now in game. I'm just trying to compare them real quick. Is that they look very similar? It's just that the one is a little bit shorter, so it might even be the same model. maybe just slightly updated. So
Yeah, just slightly remodeled.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's a nice event. I do prefer these more generic events because it encourages just you to play the game. When they say do X number of KMDDs and that kind of stuff, it encourages people to take out all the lerms. Whereas all this is encouraging you to do is do Solaris and take some AMS, which AMS actually just helps the whole team in general.
Yeah, that and just get a certain amount of match score, which that's good because to get match score could just be take whatever you do well in, and then you get match score. So
yeah, one thing I love about PGI is their ability to hand out MC like it's free candy, and I love that about that company because a lot of companies are very stingy about handing the stuff they make money from, and these guys do a really good job at that, making everyone happy with candy.
Yeah, I think the generosity is a little bit underestimated at times when you think about just how much they give away, particularly if you look at some of these recent AAA titles and just how grindy they make their in-game currency and the microtransactions. I think it's probably one of the things that PGI should get props for is just how generous they are. And I think Matt does a pretty amazing job with the events in general.
Yeah, definitely. Like I think Kanagashi actually has an account that he's been doing that's all been free, and it's amazing stuff he actually has now. And just watching his free content's like, wow, you can do this, guys. You could do this without spending your money. But do spend your money though, guys. Spend your money on PGI because they actually do a good job of what they're doing too. I mean, they do make some mistakes, but they do a good job at everything else. So yeah, okay. Yeah. So next we is that a sale? Yeah.
The other half of the Heartbreaker event is the sale. We usually do not care much about the buying or gifting MC and you get the extra stuff thing because usually they don't give that much of an incentive. Even if you're buying the $100 package, all you're getting is the Executioner Hero.
Yeah.
Or
the Zeus,
something on that similar level. Yeah. So, it's compared to the sales you have available, and particularly with MC, I got the MechWarrior 5 pre-order. I have a lot of MC to spend through. I'm not actually really needing it, and I much prefer the previous weeks where less commonly played mechs were just for 40 to 50% off.
Well, they do have the Skokomish, for the 99.9995. So that's good. That's a good mech. It's
a good mech, though you could just buy it on its own from the store because it's it's one of the hero sales when they just you can pick and choose whichever hero you want, just get it for $25 rather than $100.
I think I was asking this before, but they have two different types. You got for the Inner Sphere and for the clans. I'm not sure if you get both of them or you kind of pick. Do you guys know anything about that?
It's based on the time. Which week you're doing?
Oh, okay. Okay. There we go. Yeah. 17th. Okay.
Which just adds, personally, I think it just adds extra confusion to this thing. The layout on the site, at least on my view, does not look that appetizing. It's just these, sort of. It's like looking at a little Excel spreadsheet explaining all these various little bonuses you can get, which is, it reminds me of like trying to pre-order a AAA game.
Oh, don't go there, man. Don't go there. Or pre-alpha AAA game. Yeah. It does have some confusing aspects to it, and I think they probably should have redid this a little bit. Because I was confused on this, but yeah, it doesn't take much to get me confused though, so that might be the problem as well. But for the $6.95, you do actually get a lot of good stuff with the military theme or the trades theme for the clans. So it's a good deal for just what spend $7. You get $12.50 like MC, and then a bunch of radios, two mech bays. That's interesting because they didn't have that before.
Yeah,
first time we've seen that.
Nice.
Yeah. I think the value is always at that lower end, and I think that's probably where they pitch those type of sales. They probably move the most money through those small ones, so they tend to make the incentives there a little bit a better return on investment.
Hell, that's a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One big consideration sometimes, at least with things like this, is the end of year rewards. Usually there is something for actually buying MC throughout the year. And so, yeah, the smaller package can be much more appetizing. I usually, though, wait to buy that smallest package of MC until I see I get something like, the hero, well, not the hero, the loyalty urban mech. That was a really good reward back in the day. But until I know what the loyalty rewards and how it's all worked out, it's not that appetizing.
Gilly, that's kind of nice. I like that. That's yeah, they got some cool stuff, like for the lower tiers. So it's a good thing, guys. Check it out if you guys can. A lot of cool dog tags and vibro blades, so you can play with your friends.
All right, let's get on to our biggest topic for this week. At least, weekly topics would be the patch notes.
Yes, patch notes coming out tomorrow. On
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes.
Now these patch notes, it's a little bit low for what they normally do, but it does come with a lot of stuff that I actually would be getting into. Like obviously the Warhammer 2C coming out, the glowing eyes, which as we were talking about before, it came with the Atlas before, but they took them out, so now we get to buy them with bolt-ons, and then a couple other things. But we're going to go over this right now.
So first off is the Warhammer 2C. This one, of least a note, is there's a lot of variants for this thing. You got the usual package of 3 mechs, 2 reinforcements, the hero. If you got the holiday bonus, you'll get the bonus hero as well. And there's the pre-order bonus thing they give, an extra Warhammer 2C if you got this, at least the standard package.
Yeah.
Early enough. So it's 8 or so variants.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out.
Now, which actually which variant do we get for free? Is it the BL or the ML?
I think we get the BL.
The BL.
BL?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Maul is the hero one that you get with the pack.
The pre-order bonus is the one just above it. It's the one with ballistic energy and missile, which used to be the only. It was exclusive to the hero.
Yeah, the A.
Nice. Yeah. So if you pre-ordered and you get the pre-order bonus, you basically get the hero on top. Its quirks aren't as good, I think, but hey, it's almost basically the hero. And this will also be those kind of hard points are available for C-bills eventually when it comes out for C-bills.
Yeah, and I'm going over. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, what your guys' thoughts on the Warhammer?
Oh yeah, well, I was actually just going over the screenshots here at the very bottom, where they have all the images and everything. I know before I was a little unsure of it, but I'm really liking all the various hardpoint locations on this, honestly. Especially like looking at the second photo down. It's the one that has the woodland camo. That's the all energy variant. I mean, those are some nice tight hard points on those torsos there. So I'm really liking the layout, honestly, on this.
At the very top of the countdown as well, they have size comparisons. So yeah, this thing has very nicely clustered torso mounts. The energies are a little low. You do have to expose a fair bit to get them exposed, but compared to particularly like the Cataphract, this thing, it looks a little smaller than the Cataphract, and it's 10 tons heavier.
Yeah, the geometry looks pretty good. I guess it'll come down to the agility, to see how mobile it is. The arms are kind of big and muscular too, which should shield the side torsos pretty well. But obviously, it'll depend on how well it twists.
Yeah, and then pretty much I'll probably do it just like I use the standard Warhammers. I don't even boat anything in the arms, and I'll just keep everything just torso mounted and just use those arms as shield. Really,
sacrilege.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of the variants I think are pure laser vom, so you probably get classic laser vom, clan laser vom out of those, and then the rest apart from the heroes seem to be that laser missile mix. So it'll be interesting to see how well they brawl. I mean, obviously they're not quirked the way that IS mechs would be quirked but the geometry might mean that you can pack a few SRMs on there and brawl pretty effectively. Good max engine speed, so you'll be able to chuck a 350 in there or something and still probably have a lot of room to pack some other stuff in there. So yeah, it looks like it might be a decent mech. It'll just, I think, depend on how it handles.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know I'm looking forward to probably taking the Warhammer 2C2 and just building ATMs in it.
I have a question for you guys. Like, what do you think as far as, like, since you are bringing a lot of the 2C mechs out with the Warhammer 2C and a couple other ones, do you think it's going to overshadow the normal Innisphere ones with the clan tech on it?
Oh, no. For me, the standard Warhammer is still a very solid mech. For me, I mean, it's just going to be a different variant of it. It's going to be a little bit heavier I can add some weapons I can't put on the standard, but for me, like, the standard Warhammer is still one of my favorite mechs to use in this game, and I will never leave.
The most direct competition this has is the recently released Charger, I would say, both for 80-ton laser boats, predominantly. At least there's variants. They can also bring missiles to the table, some DACA here, mixed loadouts. But the closest competition is the Charger, somewhat the Hatamoto Chi and all the other Innisphere 80-tonners.
Yeah, the Victor.
It still plays into very much, I would say, the differences between the two tech bases, the Charger, the Victor, Zeus, etc., etc. They have a lot of survival quirks. This one has no survival quirks whatsoever. It's 80-tonner, no extra hit points. All you can do is take the skills. But it's clan tech. It can take that nice clan XL. Yeah. It's got nice shape and hardpoint locations. Yeah, it's got a lot going for it. It's going to be more of a glass cannon, but it will be a good cannon.
Yeah, and I think that'll depend on how meshed it is. Glass cannony it is. I think, Bob, if you are playing the Warhammers, you probably are a fan of IS, and you don't care about the clan stuff. So I don't think you'd pick one over the other. But it's it will depend, I guess, on how glass cannony it is. Let's hope we don't get the incubus syndrome. That it's
God!
Oh no!
Cannony that it just is unplayable. But hopefully it's somewhere in between. Not certainly not as tanky as its IS counterparts.
Yeah, for the clans as well, the battle mechs are quite nice because you can always fiddle around with Endo, Pharaoh, with the engines, and the slots fill up nicely. You aren't forced to put everything in the arms all the time. So this one, the only competition it sort of has in clan side, I mean, Gargoyle, no, not so much. The Highlander 2C, Marauder 2C is the closest competition the clans have. And both, I think, are probably set to be quite solid mechs.
Yeah, and I would say going back, if we're comparing, this 2C to the standard Warhammer, it might go roughly the same amount of speed, maybe a teeny bit slower, and of course, the mobility will be slower than your standard Warhammer too. So.
Yeah, basically the question I brought up is just clan tech so much better than the Innisphere, and so basically with like engine and all that kind of stuff.
I wouldn't say it's better. Well, I mean, it's definitely it's a varied flavor. It depends on which one you want to go better for it.
Oh no, I'm all for Innisphere. Don't get me wrong. Basically, I'll rather have like Innisphere than anything else. But it seems like with bringing the 2Cs like into the game, you're looking at engines, and that's one of the things that's a major thing. Obviously for a mech to make it go, but that's a major thing that they could lose aside with an XL, no problem at all. Well, except for the water bottles. But they're able to keep on going and trucking compared to if you put a XL into a Innisphere mech. And we have lights. Sorry, go ahead.
Historically, yes, the clan battle mechs have been usually quite strong, just because you have so much versatility and their tech is so much better. But whilst this thing is not completely quirkless, it is very small as a weapon benefits, usually to help the weapon systems that you aren't using so much, like the one that you can get for the collector's edition. It's 7 energy and 1 missile, so the missile's got a 15% cooldown, which it can be quite potent in a way if you put an ATM-12 or something on that and just throw a couple medium lasers on it. So
yeah. Now, one thing that is interesting. So I'm actually in the mech lab here right now, and I'm actually comparing the Cataphract with our current Warhammer. And since the biter, I think you mentioned that you saw that the Warhammer 2C is about roughly as tall as the Cataphract, right?
Yeah.
If you compare it in game, the standard Warhammer is actually taller than the Cataphract. So it's going to be actually a teeny bit stouter than our standard Warhammer.
Yeah,
by a teeny bit.
The biggest downside this mech could possibly have is just it's kind of a bit wide feeling, like it's got some big side torsos. It looks like those are quite. It's got some big pecs on either side of its chest, and the arms as well are really low and wide. And at least with the PPCs on in the preview images, they are really big targets. So you're not really going to be a fan of putting weapons in the arms often, which can mean sometimes you're only focusing on torso mounts with this mech.
Yeah, I think it'll be classic clan where it's shot and not get shot. I think it probably won't peak very well. You'll probably need to expose a bit, and I don't think the agility will be too crash hot because the geometry I think will be all right. It'll probably be able to use the arms, and obviously it can pack a massive amount of weaponry. So yeah, I think you'll find that it's mid tier. I don't think it'll race to the top in anyone's list.
They'll probably be fine. In terms of agility, they are listed, of course, alongside the quirks, acceleration, deceleration, all that stuff. And it's got 13 acceleration and 16 deceleration, which is about right for a mech of its weight class. It's about the same agility as IS 85 to 90 tonners.
Yeah,
I think that's about right.
Yeah, so if you put in a XL350 engine, it gets to something like 60, 70 kph. It will take a few seconds to actually get up to that speed. So it's not going to be the quickest peeker around a corner, but that's the same for most clan assaults.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, at least other than the Kodiak 3, it has about the same acceleration as the other Kodiaks.
And actually, I'm checking it against the Charger N7. It's the exact same numbers for the most part.
Yeah, the N7 has a nerfed agility compared to the other Chargers.
Yeah.
But it's about on the same level as the Charger when it isn't getting a big buff.
Yeah.
Because the other Chargers are twice the acceleration; they're like 27 rather than 13. And you're really losing out a lot of agility on that Charger hero because of its crit chance receiving quirk, which is hilarious.
I will say that a good the hero looks like a good variant with the 2 ballistic, also running the D-strike build, 2 Gaussian lasers.
Yeah. The only issue is, at least with Clan Gorse, you really like to put it in the arms where it doesn't blow off your side torso so quickly. And the arms are not so good on this mech. So it's not as good as the Marauder 2C in that regard, at least like the ECM variant. And there's no ECM or mask or anything like that in the Warhammer 2C. It's just whether it can make some good glass cannon builds. All right. So,
and we get it for free too, so that's a good thing.
Everyone, if you've done the Christmas thing yet, you get one of them for free. So
yes,
and most people get a chance to play it.
Yes. Okay. Right. So
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
Moving along, since getting a bit long in the podcast at least. New trial mechs, interesting enough, but whatever's mostly.
Whatever.
The next big topic I would say is just the bolt-ons. They're introducing glowing eye bolt-ons to a variety of mechs. The Atlas, Cyclops, Kodiak, Panther, Piranha. It had its own posts. This is a unique bolt-on, probably a head bolt-on. It doesn't fall off when it's shot. So you pay 1,000 MC and you can show people where your cockpit is. I quite like the glowing eyes, particularly since you can color them. And there's even a little community event going on where you post your own glowing eye images, what mechs you want to see next with glowing eyes, what kind of designs you'd like, and top 5 picks from will get a whole set of them that are already in the game.
That's kind of cool, actually. I actually like the glowing eye thing. I think it's going to be a good effect on the game, and like we've been talking about, it's not going to fall off when your teammate hits you with a flamer, just because. So like I'm going to like actually the Panther, because I use the Panther a lot All the other mechs I don't really use that much, but the Panther is one of the cooler ones like out there, at least I think, of how it looks.
I do like the Cyclops, how that looks.
I mean, 4,000.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, but I will say I do find it interesting because I do believe the glowing eye was a thing back in the day for the Atlas, and then I think they took it away because people were complaining about getting headshot due to it. But those of you who are saying that mainly you're going to get headshot, you can turn the bolt on and off in game. There's a key you can do that.
Yeah, that's a concern I always have when I put like eyeballs like on my mechs, because like I want to have it at a certain spot like on a Zaya, like obviously, but and then I get headshot like sometimes, and that's like a big no, I guess, to go put some stuff like on your mech exactly like where here's my left torso and here's where this little flag is, type thing.
Yeah, I normally put like a black decal over my cockpits if they have a glass that really stands out from the rest, so it sort of merges with the rest of the mech. And this is the opposite of it, but still, I this is one of my more preferred bolt-ons. The others can be kind of tacky, honestly, and they fall off, so you don't even feel like that bolt-on is on whilst you're doing a fight.
Yeah.
So, my suggestion was, I took the Orion and I colored in the 3 cockpit glasses, so it looks like kind of like a Moor, and I want to round a corner with that kind of Moor on my cockpit, to brawl people to death with.
I mean, it's kind of cool you'd be able to go ahead and change the colors too. I like that idea, and like this is a good thing PGI is doing. But 1,000 MC though, that's harsh. That's a lot of MC.
Mm-hmm.
As is all the bolt-ons. They're all pretty pricey for what they are.
Yeah.
So I think the eyes, particularly with them glowing, gives a lot more personality than a random battery pack strapped to the side.
Oh, yeah.
Random. Yeah, I know. God. Why? Oh, God, yeah.
And this glowing eye thing will be introduced this Tuesday in the patch. So
yes.
Looking forward to it. At least those few people who buy bolt-ons, they got another cool thing to add to their mechs to show off to everyone else.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting because this is, to me, it came out of the blue. This was just like, oh, this is like suddenly surprise. I did not see this one coming.
Another bolt-on that I saw is they're actually bringing flags in from different factions, which I thought was a really cool idea. But I want to see MOC. I want to see Canopus flag. I want to see the Outwards Alliance flags. I want to see the stuff on the periphery, because there are people that actually do play that, go play that faction that are out there that have to quote make up their own things for it, and the only thing you have is just like like a patch or like a paint job like on their mechs, and that's it. And so it'd be cool to actually input the periphery flags, including the ones from the industry and the clans.
Yep. As far as I'm aware, I imagine this is you take the, what was it, MechCon or thing flag? And you just put a different texture to it. I really much hope they can do more flags in the future for those people who are crazy enough to buy bolt-ons.
Or get them for free or something. But hey, there's battery cells. Battery cells, you can put them on your mechs.
The flags are a good giveaway for faction warfare events and loyalty and stuff like that. That would be good.
I actually, that'd be cool. Sorry.
Bolt-ons, I think they need to make cheaper or give them away more often. I think they not a lot of incentive to buy them at the moment.
Give us more random battery packs to slap onto the mechs, please.
Yeah, or fins for our Zeus's.
It's the glowing eye thing is definitely a cool addition. So to be let's hope people take it up, and let's hope PGI maybe drop bolt-on prices to kind of 250 MC or something. It'd be good to be able to buy bolt-ons after playing an event and getting enough MC there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that. The bolt-ons are a little pricey. They are.
Especially for one mech, too.
Well, for one mech, and then they fall off when they're hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. There's been a few little minor tuning changes. The heavy machine guns ammo per ton has been increased from 1,000 to 1,250. Good change. I said this should have happened when they gave a huge ammo buff to everything except machine guns and Gauss rifles.
Yeah.
It brings the total damage per ton of the heavy machine gun about in line with the light machine gun, which both trail behind just regular machine guns. They're still one of the least efficient ammo types available in the game, but since you are investing so much tonnage into heavy machine guns and their ammunition, it's good that the ammo doesn't completely suck ass. It just mostly sucks ass.
They should they should have it higher than the light machine gun and machine gun, just because heavy machine guns come with the additional risk of having to engage to a distance that's virtually face hugging. So they should incentivize it even more, I think, with better ammo values.
Well, plus you're spending a ton for just a heavy machine gun, like for the IS side. I mean that's a lot of stuff to go put on there. And if you have like a mech, like a lighter mech, like a Brawn or something like that, that's a lot of tonnage, man.
Yeah, I think it makes the most sense, at least in my mind. You have 2,000 rounds for regular machine gun, 2,500 for light machine gun, and 1,500 for heavy machine gun. It's only a difference of 500 up or down depending on the caliber. Whereas what it is right now is that you go down, you lose 750 rounds when going to heavy machine gun, which just make it all nice and neat. And that way, heavy machine gun ammo is actually pretty efficient and actually might be a bit more worth taking.
Yeah.
No.
Go on.
Yep, Thanatos for P is getting an agility increase. There's one other Thanatos that has that level of agility, the Thanatos for S. It's okay. The change is very slight, though. Just with all their agility changes, it's going from 22 acceleration to 29. Nice, but I don't think it's going to save the mech or really change things for it.
Oh no, I got one. It's mothballed. I bought it and used it. I'm like, okay, this is okay, I guess. The Night Star, it's getting a HSL quirks. Now that's one of the things I have to commend PGI about doing, making it lore friendly with HSLs. I love the idea, and it's actually maybe take out like maybe take out the Hunchback 4P, maybe take out the Hunchback 2C with the two Ultra 20s. I mean, it made the game so much better for a lot of different mechs, like including the Awesome. I mean, great addition to what I mean, whoever made this up, like I think it was Chris, right? Like somebody like that. Great idea of what they did.
Yeah, it is a great way to add flavor to unique chassis that otherwise have very little going for them, so to speak, or not so much going for them. There's a fair number here that have been introduced in this patch which have a UAC 20 quirk. This is one of them. I would say it's not enough of a buff to make me interested. UAC 20s are very ammo hungry. They're very hot. Particularly, you got two of them firing together and you double tap it. That's 7, 14, 28 heat. It's like firing it's like firing PPCs at the enemy.
Yeah.
And this thing doesn't have much in the way of other quirks. Like, it doesn't have a jam chance. So you also have a huge problem with UAC 20s having the biggest chance to jam. And since it's only a range of 270 meters, you have to get really close. You have to commit this really wide mech to smack somebody in the face. And both the weapons jam really quickly. And even if they don't jam, they get really hot. So it's a really tricky proposition to find the tonnage, the heat sinks, the ammo, and the time to fire these and have them jam and wait for them to unjam. So, yeah, it's okay.
Well, even with the Wolverine loyalty version has a negative 40% jam chance with an AC with Ultra 5. I still jam like almost 90% of the time. It's freaking crazy. I don't know if the jam chances are mixed up or something happened to him or something, but that thing jams on me way too much for actually to be negative 40%.
I think it kind of depends on how fast you click the mouse button too.
Yeah, that can sometimes be a factor. I have noticed that, particularly with UAC 5s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I do like the flavor. It does mean the stock build, because it starts with UAC 20, you can actually use both UAC 20s together at the same time, give it way more of an oomph when it rounds a corner. It's just the thing with the Hunchback 2C's UAC 20 quirk, it's got a very good peaking profile. The Night Star does not have that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. Though I love the introduction of these HSL quirks, and whereas the Night Star might not immediately lend itself to it, I had assumed that it was something in lore, and that was why it got a UAC 20, because it doesn't necessarily lend itself to turning the build into something awesome. But I just hope they continue with this. I hope they continue to either find reasons in lore for these unique quirks, or to target mechs that are maybe a little lagging behind. You know, if they can take mechs that aren't as quote unquote meta and give them unique ones, either HSL quirks, or I'd also like to see some other quirks like the spider capping quirk. You know, the more they can do this, the more it gives you a reason to take them out of the mech base.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
Definitely.
a great addition.
This is
Definitely.
also with the mech quirk changes. Unlike last month, they would give them a HSL quirk, but also take things away. So, for example, the Executioner on average actually got a net nerf when they gave it the heat scale limit quirk. This time, though, thankfully, they aren't cutting into this Night Star's ballistic cooldown quirk. So you still have the 10% cooldown for whatever ballistics you're using, including the dual UAC 20.
I still gotta get a Night Star. I haven't bought one yet.
I haven't really been itching to get one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not on my top of the list, but it's like, okay, might as well. I'll wait. I'll get it whenever it's on sale, I guess, or something.
Yeah, I'm just very glad they aren't nerfing the mechs on average when they're giving them these quirks. That was pretty mean last month. All right, next is the CatSmiles side torsos. The ones that predominantly usually don't have weapons are getting a 5% range quirk, which means if you take both of them, you get 10% range.
Meh.
It's nice enough. The side torsos have very nice high mounts for the CatSmiles, which is why people usually use them, and the other side torsos weren't being picked that often, despite them often giving little quirks here and there. This just adds a little more. It's just like the Arctic Cheetah change, giving more reason to use the side torsos that don't have weapons.
And we're talking about the CatSmiles, the hero one, right? The one with the
hero has
two?
energy side torsos, so that one isn't getting the range.
Okay.
Quirk. If it's got the missiles or the energy in the side torsos, and I haven't checked all the variants, but those are the big ones. Those aren't getting the buffs. I'm pretty sure.
And
Highlander 2CA is getting a new quirk. At least this is the first time we've seen Clan ER PPCs getting a heat scale limit quirk. You can fire 3 at once, 45 damage Alpha Strike. That's pretty nasty. The issue is, I do like that this Highlander's getting it. It's one of the weakest Highlander 2Cs in the game. Just 4 energy and 3 missile. It makes it very hard to fill up all that tonnage. The other Highlanders can usually take a good, ballistic or 2 in the arm, or specialize a lot more. This will help the mech in some ways, but the PPCs will have to be split across the mech. 2 in the side torso, 1 in the arm, all the way down there to the side, or 2 in the arm, 1 in the side torso. The Highlander does not have a good peeking profile. It's not a natural PPC sniper, so to speak. It's okay. 3 PPCs is incredibly hot to fire, even without ghost heat, so you have to boat heat sinks. And in the end, just 3 PPCs feels sometimes a bit of it's not enough firepower for a 90-tonner in some ways. Like, you could take the Warhawk, which takes 4 PPCs, and even though you're firing 2 and 2, it feels a lot better to get 60 damage out rather than just 45. I think you could do 3 PPCs and some missile backup, or 3 PPCs then 1 PPC, but I don't think this is really saving the mech with such awkward and difficult hard points.
Yeah, I forgot what type of 2C I have. I have to look up that again and go see if I have the A or not. And if I do, I mean, I'll figure something out for it. I'll take it at mothball, clan mechs, capture clan mechs.
All I would say is, like, perhaps if this had as a 5% PPC heat gen quirk, I would say, okay, now we're talking a little bit. Now there's a bit more than just being able to use a unique weapon combo, because this thing is so behind the other Highlander 2Cs and other clan mechs because of its bad hard points. I feel this is nice. It's a step in the right direction, but it needs a bit more.
Yeah.
All right, last big weaponry change is the Supernova Boiler. The hero mech for the Supernovas has also got a UAC 20 heat scale quirk.
One thing
nothing. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying that one also comes stock. So
Yeah. That's almost always the case, that the heat scale limit quirks are coming because that's the kind of loadout they have to start with.
I know we don't actually go over bug fixes and improvements that much, like during our podcast, but I have to say, yeah, because we're just like, oh, hey, bug fixes, okay, let's go jump something else. But the I do like how they actually changing some stuff in Slur City, as far as like a lot of times you get stuck on certain parts of the city where you can't actually go through the tracks and stuff like that. This actually, and they fixed that, and so that's a good thing. That's a very good thing they did.
Mm-hmm. I would say, whilst the boiler isn't that often appreciated, I actually quite like the mech. You can run, like for me, I ran 3 Streak 6, 3 medium pulse lasers, and 2 Gauss rifles. Other builds would do something like, 2 PPCs and 2 Gauss rifles. It's got a nice combination of ballistic, energy, and missile, where the ballistic were usually the cool weapons, and you get all the heat generated by your energy weapons and or missiles. UAC 20s on it is a funny proposition. I think, though, it suffers from the same problem the Night Star has. It doesn't have jam chance quirks or anything like that. And 2 UAC 20 on Clan even is pretty hot as well. And the backup weapons you're trying to bring to this thing are going to be pretty hot as well. So, it's got the same problem as the Night Star, but at least the Supernova was already good at doing other things, predominantly Gauss rifles with hotter backup.
I'll take your word for that because I don't have one. So
same here. I didn't get one, but I've been tempted once in a while.
It's not a bad mech. I do quite like the mixed bracket filled kind of loadouts. It's something most people don't expect from the Supernova. You either see the energy boats very rarely, or just the pure missile boat. Whereas this one, it's actually got some Gauss rifles to complement the hot laser weapons and the kind of hot missile weapon splatter damage. I love the combat. So this is my favorite Supernova. I'm glad it gets the quirk, but I'm not going to play with this quirk.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I say moving on there. That's pretty much all the patch notes, but that also we do have another AMA session coming up from PGI, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
About MechWarrior 5.
Which is good. I'm very happy they're actually talking to the community, and that's one thing that every game company should do. I just hope some of the questions aren't like, what's a drop velocity on a moon with a 6th degree of peril? I don't know, just whatever. Like the realism they had like last time was just way over the top as far as what they think PGA can do compared to what they can do. But I'm happy they're talking, and I'm happy they're actually doing this kind of stuff because that they need this, and this will help sell MechWarrior 5 as well too.
Yeah, well, mostly says the topic will be about the MechWarrior 5 AI. So
good. That actually might be good.
Yeah. So that should be a good one to tune in and ask questions, I guess.
That was precisely what I wanted to know more about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like playing the going to MechCon and playing the demo version, it was just it was evident that they had some problems.
Charge mode engaged.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm a marauder, so I'm going to get to point blank range and use my PPCs.
Yeah. And I think last but not least, quick mention is the public test session 2.1. They fixed a couple things. There was one thing about targeting, correct? Larch?
So
yes.
we did some work in we actually jumped on the PTS last week, and we noticed there was these lock-on bugs. It looked like where you would have your lock, but when you move behind a wall, and it turned indirect, it would lose the lock momentarily and have to quickly zoom back in. And that was the same case if someone used tag. If they were holding tag on the target and let go, it would lose the lock on for you, which was a huge nuisance.
Yeah, and they're gonna fix tag now, so it's almost useless to actually have it on your own mech, but to have it on other like scouting mechs would be really good, right?
It'll be okay again. But yeah, they acknowledge it in the PTS notes. They don't necessarily say they fixed it, and they say that it's only a visual bug.
Yeah, it's the targeting issue. Yeah.
Okay.
My worry all the time with the PTS is that you're getting such a biased sample of data And
Mhm.
I wonder just how useful it is when you've got people going, the selection bias from the data must be so hard to get out. You know what I mean? People are going in there trying to do something deliberately, and it's 4v4. It's not anywhere near a live environment. I just wonder how useful the data must be. I mean, testing I could understand, like testing and trying to find bugs, but if they're looking to get an idea of tweaking values or damage or any of that kind of stuff
Yep.
from these type of PTSs, the selection bias, as I said, would almost make the data, I think, not even worth it.
Yeah, I very much agree. I think the best value it has is just starting a conversation with the community and getting them a chance to test it out. If they just rolled out these changes live, there'll be a large backlash because people don't like sudden surprises like this. And if there were particularly things like the lock-on bug, it would be pretty bad for PGI. At least there's plenty of times they've done this before. They just quickly roll out a change that the community was not ready for. They didn't like the sound of the change, and the change was poorly implemented, which really doesn't do well for PR.
Yeah. Well, it was the last big backlash. They had a huge one, and they had to scale it back and to redo it or something like that. There was this is about a year ago.
Yeah, the energy one.
Yeah.
They did pretty well, I think, actually, to go through those iterations. But at least with that one, the test environment was a little bit easier to get good information. I always worry a little bit when I see Chris quoting the data from this PTS in particular, and just think to myself, geez, that how selective that data is. But Captain Cat always often says the same thing as you, Biter, that these are probably more PR exercises, and this is an example more of maybe socializing that change is happening rather than the actual changes that will happen.
Good point.
Yep.
Yeah.
A point we've made the previous PTSs is that there's no incentive. They used to give the Cicada Warhorn as only if you do PTSs enough games you get the Cicada Warhorn. No incentive this time again, which is why in some ways perhaps you have only got they're trying only 4v4 because no one's interested in spending all their time testing out these minor changes to missile spread.
Yeah, and I think most of everyone just went to their own private matches with just with their friends and stuff like that because it took too long to actually find a match.
Yeah, that was really the only way you could do it.
Yeah.
There
are some people searching for hours on end because no one's really turning up, and I don't know if the incentive would change things much, but it would, even if you're just trying to get a group together. If you all say, "Oh, come on, guys, let's play some matches. Let's get a free Warhorn," it helps sell it to people a lot more than just we're just doing it for the science
or the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anything otherwise I would say about this PTS is all they're doing is changing spread values. An analogy I would say about all of these spread value changes is it's all very incidental with missile weapons. Their spread is usually so bad it doesn't really matter. And my analogy would sort of be, it's like you have a bank account with $1 million in it, and after a year you get $1 worth of interest. And PGI is like, oh, okay, people are not saying it's not effective enough, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you double the interest. Okay, yeah, that is good. I am getting double my return, but it's still just $2. And then, if you're being indirect with your account, you'll get half the interest, so don't use indirect fire. And 50 cents. Oh no, I'm losing 50 cents. These are big percentage changes, but in the end, the weapon systems are mostly going to play out the same. If you're directly in front of the enemy, you are usually hitting the torso components. If they're to the side, you hit the arms. It doesn't really matter too much about the spread.
I mean, I like what they're doing, though. This will actually stop a lot of the assault that people have versus LERMs. I mean, it will stop some of them, but as far as trading armor, they want to have a better lock-on as far as angle for like direct lock-on. So people want to do that instead of just hanging out 1,000 meters away and just indirect fire. So this is actually I think it's good. I think it'll help out the community as well too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the first real attempt that we've seen to change the play style associated with LRMs, and the issue is not the damage values or the spread or any of those, or the arc with LRMs. The issue in the Salt is around the playstyle, and it's do commend that PGI have acknowledged that, if not explicitly, at least with the actions that they're taking, as they're trying to say, play LRMs more like ATMs, get in close and share your armor, and then hopefully people will be less worried about it. But I'm not necessarily sold that LRMs are the problem that people say they are. But again, that's just me.
Well, the whole
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think the arc change is the thing I'm most looking forward to, just since it feels a lot more cathartic to be able to use LRMs, in the tunnel, underground, things like that. But also, it feels a lot better when they fly straight into the target and hit them very quickly and efficiently, which will encourage a more direct play style, which is the main cause, indeed, for people to dislike LRMs in the first place.
Well, I think with No Guts and Galaxy, Bombadil said it best. Who likes to, kind of like World of Tanks, who likes to be walking, driving your tank along and then bam, you're dead. Who likes to have that happen? Same thing with like Lerms. Basically they're sitting way far away and getting hammered constantly, basically like from the from Lerms. And who likes to have that happen? No one does.
Yeah, I agree. But how often does that happen?
Well, if you walk on the middle of the field, guess what? You're going to get learned to death. Basically, there's so many counters to this, to hide or to do different things to stop that from happening. Just a lot of people don't do it, and that's why they get pissed off all the time. At least I think.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's LRMs are painted as something that are a scourge of the battlefield, but I mean, I am not very good at the game, and even I don't die to LRMs that often.
Yeah.
There's so many counters, let alone just hard cover. So I think it's one of these things that's a bit of a it's the runt of the Mech Warrior topic. It's easy to pick on them, but in reality, a lot of these changes are just nominal. They're just a name. They're trying to discourage the play style, which I think is fair, but I just don't think they're as big a deal as people paint them to be.
I mean, like sorry, go ahead.
Well, one thing to note, at least in the direction of our conversation, is we're often talking about negativity about Lerms, but PGI's mindset seems very much more focused on making them more viable. That's what they've been trying to do for quite some time. Yeah. On average, actually, people are just saying they aren't very good weapon systems, and a lot of people who aren't very confident in the game try and focus on this indirect play style. We want them to learn. You want to stay with the team and use it, much more like a direct fire weapon than sit at the far back and then get ganked by a piranha play style.
Well, I think that there is one of the major complaints is that that we've seen some matches where the whole entire match you're in there getting into the thick of it, and then you might have the one or two people who are in learn boats and they're all the way at the very, very, very edge of the map. So I like this change and I do welcome it to mainly encourage some more direct firefights from Lerm.
Mm.
Well, also too, the point is too that it's a team game, and so if every mech has one AMS system, you could knock out Lerms. That whole system's just kaput. You're just not gonna have any problems. But a lot of people's like, I gotta fit another half ton or a ton and a half of ammo in my mech, but as a team game, you want to work as a team, and just put one AMS will stop a lot of different problems.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest grief with indirect fire just sort of being killed out of the blue isn't so much with Lerms, but with just artillery strikes and the like.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother episode.
Strikes are much, much worse in my opinion. And I have talked plenty about all the consumer wars and how they sort of buy power in the game and how it's kind of cheap in a way, and I wouldn't mind if they disappeared in some way. So it's all about managing your heat, and you're not just getting free damage with strikes.
I mean, I've been in some games, man, where freaking just every second was a freaking strike. I'm like, oh my god, man, what the hell is this?
Yeah, and a simple change, at least in my mind, that you should do it at this kind of PTS is. Tag in the lore I think is actually used as a target designator.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't that be interesting? If you want to use strikes, you got to bring a tag mate.
yeah, we talked about that before. That actually would be cool. That would be awesome if they did that. So your scouting mechs or your lighter mechs will actually have a purpose in the game itself instead of just running around and harassing learn boats in the background. So it would actually do something.
You hold it on the spot you want for about 2 or 3 seconds or whatever. That gives even more forewarning for people that the strike is coming, or more chance for them to sniff it out, rather than just the brilliant tactic of, I put the smoke behind you, you can't see it. Oh, look, you just took lots of rear damage. You've taken 30% or whatever on your light mech. Even more sometimes with the smaller mechs. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fair?
Yeah, I mean, to play devil's advocate, the only downside to that would be the murder ball would then become that much stronger. The consumables are really about breaking up formation. So, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely worth a look at. I agree.
I do feel, though, at least over time, brawling and the murder ball has sort of fallen by the wayside a lot more so than just people spreading out and poking and sniping at one another. Whenever you try and form a murder ball, at least the strikes will just do absolute murder on teams because they're so strong, and you have very little way to avoid them, at least when you form that ball.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it, guys? We think we covered everything.
I think covers all our topics for this week.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Want to say thank you so much to the incoming podcast. Kazin, sorry about that. Thank you so much.
Redo.
Yeah. Okay. Redo. Edit. Thank you so much, Kazin, for actually coming in from the incoming podcast. Damn it! Fuck. Damn it!
Take your breath now.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. This is it. This is gonna be the total awesome one right here. Thank you so much for.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Quiet. 3.
Thank you so much. Blah, 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 blah. There we go.
Hey, all right,
I
Bob,
hope you leave all
go
of us in.
for it.
It's going to be awesome.
Okay, go for it in 3, 2.
Thank you, Damn it. Cousin, right? Okay, Cousin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cousin, from the Incoming Missile Podcast. We do appreciate you being here, and thank you so much, man. You're awesome. I love your podcast, and all the links will be down below, guys. So check them out. Every fortnight, they have very interesting topics. Check them out as well. And this is episode 73,000. And welcome. No. Fuck.
And welcome at the end.
You just said welcome.
Okay, fuck it. Yeah,
All right,
guys,
Bob,
thanks.
Bob.
Go ahead.
Okay. Take your time. In
No.
3,
No,
2.
never. Thank you so much from the. See, this is the part that basically, we come in and we try this and it doesn't work, and then we try it again, it doesn't work, and then finally, it hopefully does work.
Shall I try?
Go ahead.
Thanks very much, Cozy Indigo, for joining us on this episode of the First Second podcast. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome. Hey, it was a pleasure to be here, guys. Thanks very much.
As always, we have the links down below. Check them out. Every fortnight, they have everything topic-wise and also information you guys should listen to.
And stay on for the extended blooper reel.
Yes.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
See you later. We have Biter.
Bye.
Cousin from the Incoming Missiles Podcast.
Plug.
Larch.
Wow, this ending was a mishmash.
Oh god, this is gonna be a nightmare to edit, man. And Oldbob. Okay, there we go. Never mind, we're done. We're done.
I feel you, Oldbob.
Anyone else want to quickly throw any important last second announcements?
No.
Blip, blip, blip.
Confusing.
I literally
I'm
have
going to go have some breakfast.
Hey man, we do appreciate you being on, man. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problems, man. It's can't thank you guys enough. And as I said previously, I think doing these collabs is a tide that can rise and make all boats rise. And we are a small community, and the more that we can kind of share each other's content, I think it works out for everyone. So yeah, thank you from Captain Cat as well, passing along his thanks for just the opportunity.
It's very cool.
Yeah, man, no problem. And anytime you come back on or have us on, just let us know. It'd be no problem. And have Larch and Ian on. be really cool.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. That,
And sorry, yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't mind every patch note podcast to be a collab. Honestly,
That might
That'd
be
kinda
good.
neat.
Well,
yeah, I mean, happy to do it
Well-
anytime you like. It's
Yeah.
a shame Cat struggles to with early mornings because he's like Bida. He's a real intellectual around this stuff. But yeah, look, I'm anytime you want me along, just flick me a message. I'll be keen as.
actually, once a month, that might actually be good because we have a lot of insight on this kind of stuff. That'd be good. That'd be nice.
Well,
Yeah, and then
you're welcome
okay,
back. We don't. We just sort of throw together the podcast and whatnot. So it's
Yeah, I mean, we
if you
just,
want
we
to
just
come
slap it
on, you're
together.
welcome on whenever.
Sounds
Whatever.
good.
We don't throw together this podcast. You're kidding. You're kidding.
Okay, sorry,
Wait.
we
No, that's
chuck
great,
it
guys.
together.
Let's stay in touch and yeah, look forward to listening to this.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, no problems, guys. I'll catch you around.
Have a good breakfast.
All right,
See you
catch
later.
you later.
Later.
Quick, we must delay him so he doesn't have his breakfast.
Delay it even further. Make
Nice
him
guy, man.
starve.
I like him, actually. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Cool. Yeah, so
All right.
we had a nice discussion about the Warhammer 2C. That was good. That was really nice.
Yeah. I think the Warhammer 2C was probably the chunk we wanted to really focus on the most, which we did. Which I'm happy with that.
It's the biggest thing coming out. The heat scale things. I'm the only weirdo who sort of have played all these mechs to know them well enough.
I know.
Yeah, like because I know last night for the stream, like people were like, "Which ones are which ones? Look at the chart."
Yeah, for Friday we're doing heat scale limit mechs, and they're like, "What's that quirk? What is it? What are you talking about?" And here's the list. Do you have any of these mechs?
Yeah. Yeah, but overall though, it was fun though. I mean, the first few matches we had, which was all of the hunchbacks, the first few were good. Then we kind of lost our way near the end, but the first ones we had were a lot of fun.
People started to realize how squishy the hunchback is because it only
Yeah.
gets survival in its hunch, which means you shield on the left torso and the center torso. Well, you're shielding as good as a clan mech can. You're kind of a glass cannon, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I definitely have a new appreciation for the Hunchback 4P because I never really owned any Hunchbacks, but that one's a lot of fun.
Oh god, that one's nice. I love that one now.
I bought it just last night, and this thing was a hoot.
Yeah. At last, you got the hunchback and the awesome, both really good heat scale limit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, those are the big standout ones. Maybe the javelin, slightly.
Maybe the javelin, yeah.
Which javelin like was this again?
11A. It can fire
Okay.
7 medium lasers at once. The problem is you can only fit so many heat sinks in.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I personally really like the Nova Cats. Those are hilarious. Like 3 heavy large plus a Gauss rifle, Alpha Strike, no ghost heat. Yeah, 60 damage Alpha Strike. People did not expect that Nova Cat to do that. And the 5 large laser Nova Cat as well. It's one of the better sniper mechs. But I'm not going to get. It's going to be really hard to get anyone into a Nova Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, guys, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go get some lunch because it's about 1:30 on my end, so I'm getting hungry. So, good
Yep.
podcast, guys.
Yeah, I'm
All
gonna
I
get
ate
some
was
breakfast.
snacks yesterday, and I haven't eaten at all today.
Oh, dude, gotta go
Oh.
get some food.
Get some food, man. Enjoy.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Okay,
see you
cool.
later.
And Lars, I'll go ahead and upload the unedited stuff and give you the
Yes.
link. Okay.
Yeah, give me a link and then I'll do it on Patreon.
Okay, cool deal. Cool deal. See you guys later. Have
See ya.
a good time, and I'll see you sometime this week too, or something. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely, man.
Okay, later, guys.